Look at the tiny brains inside the chipmunk. These are actually gay mini brains made in the lab, which can learn anything by pinching them. Like literally, a scientist has made them. He has made them listen to 240 variations of 8 male voices. And he recognized all 240 voices with almost 80% accuracy in just 2 days of training. Just imagine, you may not be good at maths, but you need a brain as fast as Einstein. So now these fast mini brains can create a reality for you. Simply install these mini brains in your body and calibrate them. And then for a few days you have to train your new brain for math. To become a genius, only AI can do all this right now. So this is technology. What's the matter? Finally, the time has passed that I am the creator of AI. Any talent can produce results instantly. This whole technology, how does it work? These mini brains. Finally, how can they learn this information? How is learning? And finally, this new. How will the mini brain finally fit in our brain? We will discuss all this in today's video, but before moving on, there is a problem in it. Haven't you noticed? So, a lot of information processing is already happening in our brain, right? And because of this processing, we are able to do everyday tasks with ease. Now, if we dedicated a small part of our brain to just one thing, then obviously, because of the limited size of our skull, we could do less than the rest. We will have to compromise, and maybe some functions can be compromised. So what does it mean to become smart? If our goal is to become extra smart, then to meet that goal, we have to sacrifice our other abilities like memory, emotion, creativity. So see, in today's time, medical science has advanced so much that we can analyze any organ of our body. Apart from keeping him alive, we can also transplant him to another patient, but despite so much advancement, our brain is the only organ that needs to be transplanted, so we have to keep him alive till we can achieve the same as the body. Reason being, to keep the brain alive. It is necessary to know which part of it works exactly, but even today with CT scans and MRIs, we have not been able to understand this completely even after cutting the brains of other animals and even experimenting on human brains. Therefore, in 2013, scientists at Austria's Institute of Molecular Biotechnology thought that, why should a brain be created from scratch and studied? That is why stem cells can be extracted from a human body, because stem cells give birth to other cells in the body. To make these cells, chemicals known as growth factors are required, as if any particular type of cells are transformed into skin cells or brain cells to make heart cells. Now, one of these growth factors is the noggin stem. It transforms cells particularly into brain cells. So scientists have injected noggin growth factor into stem cells and kept them in such conditions which are very similar to the conditions of our body. And for this, they made our blood a liquid. They also kept these cells in an incubator like this to give nutrients to the cells and to mimic the body temperature. After all this, they just waited for 3-4 days and found out what happened in those 3 to 4 days. Well, from US, some stem cells unfortunately died, but those cells germinated successfully, i.e., they took the form of neurons and they made brain tissues as small as the tip of a pen. So now they got positive results, so they took a few more days. The cells were allowed to grow. And then after 60 days, when scientists observed them again, they saw that the size of the brain cells had increased dramatically. They also started seeing structures like the forebrain and the midbrain. This means that this is the point. So scientists went to the lab and succeeded in creating mini brains. But do these mini brains even work? Well, to find out the matter, first of all, it was necessary that we translate the electrical impulses of our brain so that we can communicate with it. So for this, scientists have designed a microchip which can communicate with them through electrical impulses and connected it with these mini brains. What has happened is that these microchips can now transmit electrical information to mini brains. We can translate them into impulses, and in turn we can give them back the signals coming from a brain in the form of answers. That's how scientists are able to communicate with these mini brains. With the help of effect, he found an effective method. With the help of this communication, he also started training the brain. In the first step of this training, he fed 8 different male voices in the form of electrical signals to the brain continuously for 2 days. Did it basically to understand the differences in the patterns of different sounds. Once this was done, now it was time to do internal tests to see whether Actually, our brain can understand the things or not now for. This test scientists have done 8 times in audio clips. Mini brains accurately identified a voice in their response and sent back signals of exactly the same voice. That is, in just 2 days of training, they identified the voice with almost 80% accuracy, which is a huge success. Because you think for yourself, whenever you listen to the songs of Arijit Singh, Sonu Nigam, or even Lata Mangeshkar, what does your mind do? It immediately stores the memory of the voices of these singers in its database and starts matching them with them. And on the basis of that, you can identify exactly whose voice it is. Now we have found this ability in AI-operated devices like Alexa, Siri outside our own brain, because we have to just code to do these things. But a lab. This ability to feed in any biological tissue created in me is like the concept of a sci-fi movie. So when scientists have achieved this in a lab-grown brain, then we can safely say that those mini brains can also understand things on their own. Make decisions. That means they are indeed intelligent and maybe even conscious. Now, being a science enthusiast, I think this is a very big achievement because just imagine, currently we have VR cameras which mimic our power of vision and microphones which we can use, and there are also touch sensors like mobile screens which mimic our intended senses. But till now we have major sensory organs like nose and tongue, which we have not been able to mimic. Reason being that these are senses. These are not major useful organs. But our mind does, and these two senses of the face are the most subjective. Some have too much coffee and some have less. Some have too much coffee and some have too strong perfume. As I said earlier, it is very difficult to replicate it, but few scientists have tried to mimic it. Like in 2011, a company made an electronic tongue which detects taste based on specific chemicals like glucose in something. If the quantity is more, then it is said sweetly. If there is more nitrogen compound in a thing, then it is said that it is sweet, and so on. You have a very big achievement, but here a fundamental question arises. Imagine if someone's tongue has become numb, and when he wakes up, we have attached an electronic tongue. Is this tongue not the same as his original tongue? Can you tell the color of the beach? Well, no, because it is missing an important part. It is not connected with our brain. If the tongue somehow has to be connected to our brain, then how can we say that it has mimicked the sense of taste quite well? And here, exactly this is the power of our mini brains of today. Because see what food you eat. What is the power of every food? See the way mini brains have recognized different voices with the help of a microchip. Exactly the same way we can move forward in making these brains recognize taste and smell. What will happen is that when we connect such brain cells with devices like electronic tongue, these electronic devices are also our sensory organs. We will be able to experience the taste or smell of things. Besides, if we have an artificial nose, we did not even understand the need for the tongue. If we have to test the smell of a perfume online at home, then in this way we can use this technology by simplifying it further. Like for example, you must have also heard that recently such wireless. There are chargers available in the market which can charge electric devices wirelessly through magnets. That is, basically they transfer electrical energy by breathing. So in this case, imagine that a wireless system has been installed in your smartphone so that you can select a perfume online. Then an option comes on your screen saying test it. If you click on it, then you put your smartphone to your head and your smartphone makes your brain smell that fragrance in real life by wirelessly transferring a certain electrical impulse. Well, now it has happened. How revolutionary is this technology? I personally think that if this mini brains and microchip Wally technology is developed, hoकर evolve, hoकर mainstream में आए, to this truly is a game changer. But only it is currently there are some problems in the current world which we have to fix first. So in this video at the beginning I have said that these mini brains can think. But due to the number of injuries they have suffered, their thinking capacity is so low that even a human fetus in front of them will seem more intelligent. Secondly, looking at the various experiments done on their brains, it seems that most of the work is being done by the microchip present in it. Without this mini brain is just a bunch of a few cells. Above it is a microchip, on which this experiment is dependent. It is a machine, which can break down anywhere and at any time. because so many stories have happened in which it saves life. The machines used for this almost killed the people who used them, like for example heart, pacemakers. These pacemakers gave instructions to beat the heart through electrical signals, but these pacemakers sometimes gave instructions to stop the heartbeat due to technical malfunctions. For example, once to a 67-year-old heart patient, Lynn Farley. His pacemaker gave him 60 times deadly shocks in one night. Now the pacemakers, one blow from the pacemaker is so painful that it feels as if someone has slapped you on the chest with a blow, and he gave 60 such shocks back to back. She passed out before reaching the hospital, and to keep her alive, the doctors had to remove her faulty pacemaker. In another such case, Mr. A patient named Perry found this look on his face so painful that he himself asked the doctors to remove it, even though he knew that he could not survive without the pacemaker. This means that we all trust pacemakers as much as we want. After all, it is a machine which can malfunction at any time like any other machine. Therefore, if machines of this type are causing harm to our functioning, but you cannot make any effort about it. So what is meant to say is that mini brains working on microchips are still far from being called perfect. As long as we do not have a foolproof application Plan B and Plan C, they cannot be rolled out for mainstream users. But this definitely hasn't stopped any scientist from working on it. Scientists are well aware of the potential of the advancement of technology and its medical applications and the potential of treating some mental disorders. Because in 2021, a very interesting experiment took place in this brain. Some tissues were injected into the brain of rats, and then they observed that after approximately 3 months, the brain cells created in the lab had formed neural connections like the original brain cells of rats, just like the artificial brain cells created in the lab. Now, I don't know whether its potential is available in the society, but literally, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, many brain disorders like this, brain cells have started dying on the planet, but this technology at the very least, the ability to cure them definitely helps. So imagine our helplessness when you find out that there is a machine running in your body. As I told you earlier, your brain cells are made by using the cells in your body. So here there is no question of the cells not matching. So yes, with the help of lab-grown brain, we can get a huge breakthrough in medical science. And now only time will tell what is the true potential of this technology. Where we are trying to create brains artificially, we are on the other side. Don't you think that if any human species like us is living in Brahman, that technology has already arrived, and if it has arrived, then what is it that our Brahman cannot be? Well, such mind-boggling findings have been made by scientists Franco Vazza and neurosurgeon Alberto Filiti, who performed side-by-side comparisons of brain scans and images of Brahman obtained from the James Webb Space Telescope. Tab. Some such strange patterns are seen in a Brahman which is similar to our brain. The same structures are there, the same connections are there, and the same activities are happening here and there according to the same laws of physics. So what does it mean that this Brahman is ours? Well, I have decoded the whole issue in detail in this video, which you can watch by clicking here. It is quite an interesting video. You will get to know about many fascinating things. If you liked this video, then give a like. It is important to subscribe to the channel so that you can never miss such interesting videos. See you next time. Till then.